All right, people. Hello and welcome to another amazing session of Infosec Write-Ups Conference 2022. This is the last session for today, and we are so excited to have Tanya Janca live with us. She's going to talk about building security champions. Tanya needs no introduction in Infosec. Everyone knows her, but we are so happy to have her as a speaker. And people, don't forget to, if you like the chat, if you like the session, don't forget to share your love using the love reactions at the bottom of your screen. And also, this is going to be an interactive talk, so feel free to drop your questions, or if you have any comments, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. So, yeah, that's all. Let me bring Tanya over. Hello, Tanya. Welcome to IWCON.
Thank you so much for having me.
All
Oh,
right,
can I start? I'm up.
start. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so awkward sometimes. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, let's go. And good morning or good evening. So it is morning here in Canada, and I know it is late at night in India. So thank you so much for staying up for me. Today, I want to talk to you about how to build security champions. I'm going to explain what I mean by building. Kind of like building someone up and teaching them and engaging them and giving them the tools so they can be totally awesome. So thank you. Yep, we're going to start security using security champions. So you probably all know there's so much work for a security team, and then there's not enough people of it. Sometimes I feel pretty overwhelmed when I'm doing security work because there'll be 2 of us or 3 of us, and then there'll be tons and tons of software developers and now all the areas of IT, and they're all doing awesome stuff, and I'm like running after them trying to make things securely. And so I'm talking about how we can do more, but with the same amount of people and the same amount of money. I don't know about you, but I tend to have a pretty tight budget at work. And so I want to try to stretch every single dollar as far as I can. Or should I say rupee? You want to stretch your currency as far as you can. How about that? Okay, so I also want to talk about what champions are and how to build them so that they feel confident, they know what they're doing, and they can handle things on your behalf. And I'm pretty excited to be here because the InfoSec write-ups team have republished my work so many times. And when I was they were republishing blog posts and being super encouraging. So I kind of want to give an extra thank you to the organizing team here. I never thought that like this publishing blog would come up with a whole lot. I think that's actually really awesome. And all of you for your hard work. Okay, so this is the recipe that we are going to follow throughout the presentation. So I'm one of those people that likes to tell you what we're going to talk about. Then we do the thing, and then after I try to refresh at the end. And so this is the thing. So the first thing we do is we recruit them, and by that I mean we attract the thing we're trying to do. And then we engage them, so we make them accept. This will help us find even more people. All the stuff we need them to know. Then we want to do these 2, number 4 and number 5. So we want to recognize them and reward them because people, they like feeling seen. That makes sense. And I will explain that further. And then number 6 is the most important one. So you don't stop. With security champions programs, it's companies really excited and they organize people super into it. And then after 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, they get tired and they just stop and it falls apart. And so we'll talk about how to be consistent. So this is me, but basically I'm a nerd on the internet who really likes to secure software. Interested in, and anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So that's me. Yay. Okay, so the problem. So there's not enough security people, but my specialty is AppSec or application security. So that's how we make sure the software that are really making turns out to be secure every time. So it's safe and tough and rugged. And so there's not people that know how to do that, jobs that need doing. And so that is the problem. But I don't really like to talk about the problem for a long time, because usually if you're at a conference, you have experienced the problem yourself. So let's talk about fixing the problem. So, oh, yes, I thought that this would be good. So people, when I say scaling, I don't know if you've ever been fishing, but if you catch a fish and then you kill the fish, which always makes me sad, you're supposed to take its scale. That is not at all what I'm going to talk about today. Sometimes people are like, what are you talking about? I do not want to remove scales from anyone, just to be clear. We're going to leave fish completely on meditation. And what we're going to talk about is how you can do more with what you have if you do it a different way. So when I used to work at Microsoft, and I remember you need to learn to scale yourself. We can't make more Tanyas. So instead, we need to figure out a way to have Tanyas serve people. And I was like, how? Instead of flying to somewhere, like a virtual presentation like this. And they're like, writing lots of emails to a whole bunch of people. What if you write a blog post that helps thousands of people? And I was like, that's brilliant. That's real smart. Yeah. So I started, if someone asked me the same question a bunch of times, what I'd do is I would write a blog post. And then every time someone would ask the question, I would share the blog post, and it would be a way better answer than I would be able to write to every individual person. And then I wrote so many blog posts, and wonderful write-up team liked it and encouraged me, that eventually I wrote a book and talk about the right. And so I don't want more money or hire. We would hire more people if we could, but do more with what we have. Okay, so what the heck are what is Tanya talking about? So this is the formal answer. So a security champion is a member of a team that takes on the responsibility of acting as the primary advocate for security within the team and acting as a first line of defense for security issues within that team. That's, but here's the Tanya language definition. It's the person needed about security on each team. They are the person who reads the book, who fixes the security bugs. They ask the questions. You have a presentation or a lunch and learn, they show up to it. And that is the person we want. It does not matter if they are senior or junior. It's that they're excited, because that person who is excited do the best job for you. You can teach them the most, and they will be interested in learning. They will find time in between meetings to do the security work because they're so excited. We want to find those people and engage as much as we can. And here is how. More. Okay. Do with a champion, and who are they, and what is, there's more details, right? Our communicator. So what they do is they deliver to the team they work on, and they teach and they share and they with security stuff. So maybe they took the training on the new security tool, but then they help their team use it. They are our point of contact. So they're the person we trust stuff, and that we can tell, we can give them messages. So they deliver what we tell back to their team from from to us. So they keep us up to date, and that's really important. So they are our advocate. So they perform security work for their teams with help, but they also do security. So they will say, hey, I don't think we're supposed to do that. Remember, the security team said we should do it this way. We're like, hey, the security team has a new tool. Let's try it out. So they are this positive voice within their own software development team. You can also do this for marketing teams, etc. But since I work with software developers a lot, those are my people. So I always tend to talk about them. And basically, someone on your own team who is your peer, someone who you respect, someone whole day says, hey, I don't think we're supposed to do that. Very different than the person from your security team who's a stranger who you don't know, and they come in, they're like, blah, 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 you shouldn't do that. It's not the same feeling. And you're less likely to go along with what the security team has caught you red-handed doing a thing you're not supposed to do, versus someone on your team saying, hey, remember that we're supposed to do this. Do you need help? It's just such a different feeling, and you get better responses from the person on your team to the security person. Or in my experience, that has happened. Let's build. So we're going to recruit them, engage them, teach them, recognize them, and we are not going to stop. High fives. I like high fives. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, so how do we recruit them? So we recruit our champions. Number one rule, we do not force them. We don't volunteer them to be a champion. We invite them. We attract the right people who we want. We don't force people, because when you force someone to do something on top of their regular job, you get the best work that they can do. You are going to get the bare minimum work. Resentment from some of them, all of them, but it's not happy times. You're not going to have an extremely enthusiastic security champion, your champions, if you force them. Some people are cool with that, but a lot of people aren't. So we want to attract to us instead. And number two, their manager needs to be on board. If there is not interested in this and thinks it's a bad idea and they're the champion, then you've put the champion in the middle between their manager, the person they continue to have a job, and you, the security team, the thing they're interested in. So sometimes you have to talk to their manager or get buy-in from the top of your organization to make sure that the security champion too, because that's no good. So how do we recruit champions? So we ask for volunteers instead of appointing people without consent, like I just said. Provide opportunities for them to show themselves to us. So ways we can do that are have a lunch and learn, send out an email, and whoever attends, write their name and literally send them an invitation to become a champion. Tell them we're forming a security champions team and we'd really like to have you be a part of it because you, and whatever they did. So ask lots of questions, and learns in a row, brought the security problem to our attention. We think you'd be perfect. This is what we expect from them. This is what we want from the work. We're going to give you training and high fives, and you will be offering a lot of value to our organization and your team. Do you want to talk about it? I know that sending an invitation to someone, what if they say no? It's okay. It's okay if they say no. They might say yes in 6 months. They might change their mind, but also it's okay, right? Because in sports, like if you don't to make a goal, if you don't try to hit the ball or whatever, I'm not very sporty, but if you don't try, you'll definitely miss, right? You will never get a goal if you try to get a goal. If someone turns you down, please don't feel bad. It's okay, because a whole bunch of them are going to say yes. I like to add to my email signature things that I'm in. And so right now it says, I'm moving. Please don't email me Wednesday. But like, I'm speaking at this conference. Come check it out. Or I'm looking for security champions. Is at me how? And people respond to your signal. So we can use lunch and learns. We can use training. We want to use interesting titles whenever we events to make people interested. So when we recruit, we're going to find a couple people. You don't need to have one for every team yet. But if you have a few, you can move on to the next phase because engagement will help you find more people. But one last thing. So when you're recruiting people, if your security team's mantra is it's my job to serve you, my job as a security person to help you and your team do your jobs securely. When you adopt this message and feeling within your team, it comes across in every, for real. It really does. When you have this mantra, you attract more bees with honey. So you changing them and the way you treat them will change the way that they, the security team, and they will start being more that you want, such as becoming a security champion. Okay, so now we're on to, so if you do not have all the people that you need, it's okay, because talk. And once you start engaging them and teaching them and recognizing them and rewarding them, they're going to talk. And the things they're going to say is, this is awesome. I'm having fun. I'm learning cool stuff. This is actually way better than I thought it would be. And that will attract more people to you. So don't panic if you don't have a person for, because eventually that's what you want. Every single software development team, you want one champion. So now we're going to engage our champions. And you're like, Tanya, what do you mean by that? Engage means I involve. So that's what we want to do. We want to occupy their minds with security. We want to our program. We want to involve them in what we're doing. Way too. So we want to be engaged with them. We want to participate and become involved with our friends. We want to help them with what they're doing and care succeed and how they're doing. This is important both ways. If we are super uninterested in them, that is not going to send the message you need to send. Engage them. If you are allowed to bring them on a security incident, that is how I got hooked on doing security incidents. I not on the, but I asked if I could go to a meeting, and then they were showing all this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's code. And they're like, yeah, I'm like, oh, it says this. This is what's happening. And they're like, you that. And it was obfuscated. So I was just sitting there figuring out like all the characters meant because it was encoded. And I was like, oh, it means this. Oh, no, they're doing that. Oh, no, this is bad. And they're just like, you're on our incident response team now. I'm like, really? I was excited to help. If you can share appropriate secrets. Sometimes my old boss, Phil, came up with, he had everyone raise their right hand. He's like, I am deputizing you to the security team the next hour. And he made not to tell. And I never heard any rumors about what we shared with them. So I'm ever told. And after we, confided were having problems with certain things and we needed their help and that we could not do it without them, they were so amazing after. Their boss, Jill, he was so passionate about security from that point on. He's like, this will never happen again, not on my watch. And it's like he led, in a movie, there'll be this military leader. He was like that. And his whole team was just like, every single vulnerability, smashing all the bugs. Great. Your champion see every single, show them new tools, tell them about changes that are coming, tell them about policies, ask their opinion. They're super smart, right? Because they work for you. They would not more if they were not smart. So if they work, you need to trust their opinions and ask them for feedback. Create a mailing list. That might sound really silly, but I'll email them. This month we're having a lunch and learn. Here's this cool podcast that I listened to. And also here's a silly meme that I saw that I thought you might like. Touch base. I like to meet with them once every month and have a list of questions. And so I stole these questions from my friend Ray. So I used to just ask them all sorts of things and kind of stumble upon the answers. And then Ray wrote a blog article for Hella Secure, so secure.com. And this is what he asks. And now I only ask his questions. So it's, what are you working on? What are you going to be working on? Need any help? And it sounds so simple, right? He worded it. I'm like, oh, well, that's perfect. Those are all the things I would like dance around them. And so he ends with, do you need any help? Because that's just perfect. And so he has 2 different blogs about security champions. And so I read Hella Secure. So I highly recommend it. I love their blog. Brace yourself because news. So if someone tells you about something happening, should not be happening, at the person that told you it. You want to thank them and be grateful, even if you're like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. So don't shoot the messenger, as the expression goes. Be nice to the messenger who told you about the problems. Team building events. So if you can let the champions know each other, that's even better, because other questions sometimes if you're not available. I like invite them to join security community. For instance, you would invite this event at $5 is it's a steal. It's such a steal. It's such a good deal for how much it costs versus the amazing content that you're getting. So invite your security champions to events like this. And if you have enough budget, pay for them to go. Okay. So some ideas on how to engage them and make them interested. So now we want to teach them. So what are we going to teach our champs? So the first thing is only teach them what they need to know. Don't teach them a ton of extra stuff. I have seen this where they teach them tons of pen testing. I'll let them do pen testing. They're like, no. I'm like, then why are we showing them, here's this cool tool? You'll never be allowed to use it. Why would we do that? So just teach you need them to know. Don't teach them lots of extra. So what do they need? What do we need and expect and want from the champions? So maybe we're like, okay, so we have this dynamic. We want you to scale teams' apps and fix the highs and mediums. Clients, this is the place you can do it. This is how you do it safely. This is how you fix the bugs. Come to us if you are stuck. And then once you have done that, then send it to us. And then we'll do more testing. For Security Champions program, that was the whole thing. Just scan these apps with the DAS scanner that I got for us, fix the highs and mediums, and then send it to me and I will do the rest. Because I didn't have time to pen test every app. There was just me and there was like 120 of them. And I was brand new, super junior AppSec person doing my best. And those champions, they made my program work. I would not have done such a good job. There's just no way. So what topics do we teach them? We want to teach them secure coding and architecture, if that's what they do. So if they write code, secure code. If they design for architecture, teach them. We want to teach them for policies. I don't mean send them a link. I mean actually so they know and they can spot it when they see a broken policy. And then that we ask them to use, we need to show them how if we want to get good results. If you are giving them a dynamic scanning tool, depending upon the tool you have, they could make a great big mess if you haven't showed them how to do it properly. So show them any tool you expect them to use. So training, like you could do that. You could do threat modeling. You could teach them secure architecture, code review, how to fix the. I suggest repeating this type of training yearly because things change and because it is so a secure coding. So I teach that, and this services what I much information and yearly, especially if you can switch who teaches, which is bad. It's bad advice in my business, but it's good advice for. If you're going to hire a person to come in, don't hire the same person every year because you get the same person's opinion. You want many opinions on secure coding, on threat modeling. There's tons of brilliant people out there. You will not run out of options, trust me. So which policies, standards, and guidelines apply to them and their team? Help them create any guidelines that are missing. So let's say you work somewhere and the devs say, oh, we want to start doing serverless. Cool. I will come up with some best practices for security that I want you to teach them how to be compliant. And if they're not, let's say you have a secure coding standard, help them get there. Like, we don't make these policies so we can hit people with them like it's a stick. We make these policies because that's what we want our company to do. That's where we want to be. And so help them get there. And that will build for sure. Teach them what you expect them during a security incident. You can let them do job doing. Like if you're going to do code review, invite, does anyone want to join me? Job shadow you. They will learn so much. I also really like to hold consultations. I mean, tell them we're going to do this new policy or standard or guideline, like this is a draft. I would really love your feedback. It's really important because 1, it makes them feel valued. 2, they're super smart and they will have extremely helpful feedback. And 3, like, I think it's rude to be here's a policy about how differently, and I didn't even ask your advice because I think I know your job. I feel like that's insulting. So ask their advice because I really, really actually want it, and then I apply it to whatever I wrote. So custom training on tools that they use. So if the company that makes the tool will give you training, I mean, that's pretty awesome. But a lot of tools don't have formal training. So instead, make some for them. Just show them. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just show them what you want from them. Tell them what the input means, or the output means. Oh my gosh, I have seen so many developers get output from tools and be like, I don't understand what any of this means. So go over the reports with them at first until they don't need you anymore. Teach them how to validate the results. So this is specifically for static application security testing. There be a lot of false positives. So teach them how to install and configure the tools. Select the best tool. So if they are considering a new tool, join them. Ask if you can be part of the proof of concept. Show them the things that you look for. I really like doing lunch and learns or hackathons to try to show them new tools. Okay, so coaching. See how the kitty has a lifesaver? So looking like the kitty's like a cute Jedi kitty. I am silly. It's true. Okay, so we have coaching. Coaching means enabling an individual and team to achieve their full potential. So it's not like you're changing them as a person or trying to force them to be what you want. They have this inside of them and you are helping them reach it. So you facilitate to make real lasting change. And so if we want them to practice a secure system development lifecycle, we need to support in getting there. And if we want our sing our praises and evangelize security, we need to teach them those values, coach them in getting there. And so this is just one way to teach. I like to set up office, every Thursday and Friday from 2 to 4. I'm going to have this Zoom session open in the office, like physically, and you're actually able to talk to other humans, which I really miss. You can just say, I'm going to be in my office things during those times. So you are drop in. Set repeat meetings for your meetings with each of them. Prioritize their security activities or bugs. Just be available whenever. The most important part of this. I know that that's the hardest part because we're always usually overwhelmed, but you make time for them is the difference between a great champion or a mediocre one. Help them set goals, then help them achieve the goals. Teach them specific tools or skills if they ask you, and basically ask them what they need and then provide it if you can. Like, support them and you will see huge, wonderful results. Okay, so a special note, some items should not be your responsibility. So security bugs. I know you know, but there's one of you devs and you just don't have time. Let them fix the bugs. Updating frameworks, planning releases, assigning bugs, running every single scan, implementing some things are not your job. I know you are smart enough to do it, because if you're doing AppSec, you definitely know how to do all these things, but don't do them because it's not your job. And 2, there's too much, and I need you to concentrate on your. Okay, do not. So you need to teach them how to validate static application security testing results. Don't just expect them to do it on their own. So don't delegate it. You're comfortable validating those results. I've seen just a lot of not success with that. So they should never be allowed to give security approval on anything. It is your team. Using tools without training, nope. Training new champions, nope. We are looking for partnership placement for our team. So just be very careful. Only your team can approve of security. Okay, so recognize. So this is the fun part. Well, I really like teaching. Actually, I like the whole thing. And okay, so it is our champs. We want them to know they're doing a good job. We don't want them to feel like they're trying really hard to do 2 jobs, but they only get 1 paycheck. I want them to feel squished like this kitty cat. So how do we recognize them? A certificate to put on their wall. It sounds silly, but I moved. And so like I just got to my new place literally like late last night. I packed all the little paper certificates on my wall that I got from all of the, I'm going to put them up in my new office because quite frankly, I feel so when someone gives me that. And I know you might be like, it's just that you had to print it yourself, but to me, it made me feel special. You want to recognize them in front of their peers. So it's really important so that they feel proud that they are champions. So this could mean a special virtual background or start their name in whatever chat software that you use, like Teams, Slack, whatever. You want to make sure you put a note in their performance review. This is important. Every single champion should have a note in their performance review praising them for their efforts. We want to tell their boss every time they do something big. We want to tell them every time they do something they know that we saw and that we appreciate them. We want to make their role we want to make their role clear to their team members and their peers and come to that person and that person help them. This is a trusted resource, guys. Please ask a lot of stuff by now. So the next is reward. Reward is important because some people like recognition. I'm one of those. But I also I know that a lot of people feel the need to have a physical or tangible reward, like money or something like that, because for them, that's the thing that makes them feel special. So every person is different, but if you do rewards and recognition, you're usually pretty awesome. We want to reinforce good behavior instead of punishing bad behavior whenever we can, because then we'll get behavior and a lot less people who say the security team are not nice. So reward that you can. So if you don't have a big budget, I still have ideas for you. So if you do have a budget, security related gifts. So buy a security book, buy them access to like or Safari Books Online or Tuts Plus, lynda.com, now LinkedIn Learning, all sorts of things. Give them training, give them access to capture the flag. So like if you can pay for them to come to a conference like that is an awesome reward. Giving them your time and your undivided attention is a reward. Help them with more than just security. So if you used to do QA, help them with QA tools. If you used to, like me, you're a program bug they're super stuck on, it's like, yo, I'm a bug slayer. You show me that, I'll help you. You do stuff for me, I'll take one for the team and do this for you. My friend Ray, I know I talk about him a lot, but he is the one that just like really helped me get even more interested in this topic. He used to be a security architect. So, and before that, he was a software architect. So he just like always helps them with their architect. They need it. And then they know, let them see every new tool first. It's awesome. Let them always listen to anything you can think of to reward their good behavior. Do it and do it over and over again. Trust me, no one's like, oh gosh, they told me I did a good job again. It's so annoying how they keep praising me. I've never heard anyone say that. Okay, last. So when in doubt, over. So let's say it's November and you just had your learn of the year and you know you're going to plan one in January, but you haven't really gotten to it yet. You know, everyone's going to be off in December. There are so many religious holidays, and I live in Canada. So usually like our teams are just like a rainbow of every type of human. So if there's a whole bunch of religious holidays in December, which there's one teammate off the first week, there's another one the next week. And so we often don't have a lot of stuff in December because in Canada, we're such a multicultural nation. And so I'll send out an email in November that says, hey, December, we're not having an event, but like, here's a book you can read. Here's a video you can watch. Here's a book, whatever. And you in January. And in January, we're going to have a lunch and learn. Email me back and tell me what your favorite topic I can do. Just over communicate. If you don't communicate regularly, your program will disappear so fast, so much faster than you think. Don't let it go. So consistency is your friend. Even if you meet with them just once a month to check in with them and you don't have any presentations and you don't have anything fancy planned, it's okay. Just talk to them. Some champions need more of your time than others, and some will be awesome and some will just be mediocre. That's okay. Still doing good work, right? Even if they're doing half as much as another champion, it's way more than zero, and that's fantastic. If you have accidentally dropped your schedule, that's okay, but pick it up as soon as you can. Even just in that email that I just talked about saying, hey, we're all here, but we're getting back up, and next month we're doing this. Tell me ideas for what you want, and I will work on it. Culture is a practice, and it be repeated over and over. It's like yoga. I love yoga, and since I know mostly people of India, you guys invented yoga. You can't just do yoga one time and then 6 months later you're like, oh, why am I so tense and stressed? My muscles aren't very flex. Practice. You must repeat it over and over for it to be good, and it is the same thing with this. Don't stop. It will fall faster than you think. So please, you've dropped it. And so this is and we're basically fantastic now, and we get super high fives. And so I'm going to just conclude and repeat a bit of what we did. So what we learned, how to attract the right people to your program, and how to reach them and turn them into security advocates on your behalf. What to do, what to delegate and what we should not delegate, how we should motivate them, and basically how to build a really amazing security champion program. So this was, and I hope by now you're like, oh my gosh, Tanya, stop telling me the recipe. I have memorized the recipe. And so with that, I'm going to give you a couple free resources, and then we're going to do Q&A. So let's consider joining the We Hack Purple community. There's no upsell. I used to sell admission to it, but we started, my company started making resources. Decided, let's just make it everyone can join. We have streaming events. We just built this volunteer team so that we can do things in more different time zones. So we should have time zones that are a bit more India friendly. I know up until now it's been mostly North American, and that's because me and my staff were running them. But now that I have a team of amazing volunteers, I can remember all of you aren't in bed or to participate, like having more participation from other continents, just North America. There are some awesome books. They are not free, but I love each one of them. I know I wrote one of them. Obviously, I think that book's good. Mom also said that she read. So, with a grain of salt, since she loves me. I love these first 4 books. They're all about DevOps, and I'm a huge fan of DevOps. I have a podcast, which again is free. So if you look up We Hack Purple podcast on any podcast platform or on YouTube, we have and this season we're doing Teach Me Something Security. And so basically all these different people are meeting with Teach Me Something cool about me. I am a resource. I blog, I tweet, letter. I do a lot of stuff. And so if you need something, send out a message and I'll see what I can do. And with that, this is a wish for you. So I wish that you can spend your life doing strange things with weird people. That's what I want for my life. And I want to thank all of you so much. And I especially want to thank the crew from Infosec Write-Ups, because amazing that you pulled this together so fast. I think you did a really great job, and thank you so much, especially with the issues that I had. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to exit here because I have to.
Thank you.
So I'm going to stop. Hi. I'm going to stop my screen because it looks weird. A box and a box and a box.
Yeah.
So I publish a poll.
Yeah, that was an incredible session. It was so energetic. And I think now we can move on to the Q&A part. So I will keep taking Q&As now.
Yes, see the question.
Okay, after the poll ends.
Okay, after the poll. How do I do that? Should I give people like a minute or two? Oh, people are answering. Yeah.
Answer to the
Votes,
poll,
not
guys.
bad.
Then we can move.
Okay, I've closed the poll. Thank you, everyone, for answering. So, questions. A security champion should have better, more soft skills than other security professionals. They'll be more successful if they have skills, but I would take a security champion with, only so soft skills, excited about security, rather than someone who has really, really great soft skills, not interested. Because I feel like ideally, yes, your security champion should always be polite and professional. And specifically with security, be gentle when you are delivering bad news. Most important soft skill for security people, because you don't want a security champion that's like, hey, dummies, you suck at this and I'm way smarter than you because the security this. That is not what we want. I'm not saying I've never had a champion do anything like that, but you definitely want to make sure that they have some grace when they answer. Yes. Good question, David. Thank you. How to stay consistent? It's like sand, it slips out of the hand. Oh, Sweta, I hope I said your name right. That's a great question. So sometimes what I do is I plan things in advance. I tend to get pretty excited about things, which you can probably tell from the way I present. And so I'll be like, I'm going to have 5 presentations the first month. And then I'm like, wait, no, I remember. So instead, I had to just do one thing. And for me, then that's a consistency I know I can handle. And when I do a whole bunch of things per month, I get pretty stressed out about it. And so try hard to figure out what you and your team can do, like how much you can handle, if that makes sense, and then do that much. So sometimes I've seen this. So I consult with a bunch of companies on, and they'll say like, yeah, we sent them on this super intense training. And then we did, 3 lunch and learns the first month. And then the next month we did 2. And then we were so exhausted. So 1 thing a month is actually really good. And remember, they have a full-time job, right? So we don't want them completely packed to get their regular job done. So 1 thing a month tends to work really well for me. I hope that answers your question.
All right, Tanya, I think there are no more questions now.
There's one more.
Or there are.
So we
just came up. Yeah.
Purple is my small startup company. And basically, we have a community, which is free. We have a podcast, which is free, and then a cat, which is closed right now because we have a really big special announcement coming. And I can't tell you yet what it is, but trust me, it's going to be good. Basically, we teach about how to create secure software. And I'm really passionate about that. And so the community, we have little streaming events, usually once a month. And then I publish articles, like all my blog articles go there. And then lots of other people are starting to post stuff, which is amazing. And we have a volunteer team now. And so when you join, someone should say hi to you. There's all these different areas where we talk about stuff, help each other with like work problems. And then we actually just started a channel, and oh my gosh, they're so funny. 1,500 of us in the community, but all of you are invited. And then, like I said, it's just me interviewing people and them teaching me things. And, me, and they'll teach you at the same. The episodes of this season are pretty short. They're around 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, there's another question. Can we read the OWASP top 10? So is OWASP top 10 enough to search for internships? So the OWASP top 10 is it is a list of the 10 risks to weapons, and it's the most famous thing about OWASP. But OWASP is way more than that. I love OWASP so much. It's a huge part of my professional life. And then I made so many friends, close friends. And so basically, it's a huge international community. There's hundreds of thousands of people who are part of it. Chapters or world where people, and I know right now meeting in person is very dangerous. So now we're doing a lot of things on the internet. But basically, people meet each other, they teach each other about security, and then they have huge conferences a few times. And then they also have projects. So there's really, really cool people work together to build something or write something or create something like Defect Dojo. OWASP Dev Swap team. I'm just going to put that in the OWASP Dev Swap. That project with my friend Nicole. Oops, typos. Apparently lots of typos. And we just teach people security all the time. And so basically the OWASP Top 10, you can learn it and that can help you know the major risks, and that's helpful. But for searching for internships, what I would do, look at the internship and see what they're looking for and then learn those things. So even if you don't get the learned a lot of really awesome stuff, if that makes sense. And then you've prepared yourself more for the next one. Ask them what they're looking for and then learn everything you can about it, if that makes any sense.
Awesome.
So
Thank you so much, Tanya. Yeah, all the questions are answered now.
So late.
Yeah. So, Tanya, we can go to the networking session now. All the people, you can also go to the networking session and join Tanya there, and she would be able to talk to you one-on-one or in a bunch of people. So that would be great. So I think we can end the session now. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.